So what Dawn is talking about is right here. When you share a link, let me go down here and paste it. It's a lot of text, but there's important information in that text. So I will save all kinds of cookie cutters in my notes, type what it is, paste it, hit enter, and this pops up. And if you pay attention and look at all this URL, it will tell you the blade thickness, the height, the width, with all this other junk inside of here. And you don't probably care about that. You would rather see that on my screen right here. But I think that's what Donna's talking about. It is a bunch of gibberish, but it is the link. However, when you're in the club and I share these links, I link it to the text. So does that make
Gotcha.
sense?
And then, yeah, I think she's got it. And then Jill said, do you give the digital files too, so to print on Big Blue?
So when it is artwork from our artist, like this, see all these downloads here? So our artist created this clip art for us. All of that's my happy music before I start talking when I do a live. Um, yes, so I do share this. You can see it'll say, like, these are all the things I shared from this tutorial, and I've got the clip art in here somewhere. I can't remember where. I normally put the clip art in here, but I zip them up. Like right here, I zip things. But yes, I do share this so that people can use it for Big Blue or whatever. And I share the stencil files already made and the cutter files already made too. You can see I've got STL files in here, like the party hat. But then I also added as a link if people want to change the sizes. However, if it is a Cricut Access image like this Apple, I don't share that image with you because I can't export it out of Design Space. I can only share the project link with you, and you have to open it and use it if you pay for it. Because that wouldn't, they don't want me sharing their images. So now that, okay, now I can close this. This is all those links for all the cutters that I've made in the last week. There's a ton of them. So we save the STL file, and you need Bambu Studio. Don't get confused between Bambu Handy and Bambu Studio. People do all the time. So if I go back here to Bambu and I go to software, see Bambu Handy right here? This is for your device. This is not for your computer. You cannot design cookie cutters or turn your cookie cutters into the files you need to print on Bambu Handy. This is just so, like for example, if I go to the grocery store and I'm printing at home, I can pull up my printer on Bambu Handy and see if it's still printing. There's a video, it videos, it records in real time. You can get to some of the Maker World things, but Bambu Handy is for your device. Bambu Studio is what you need if you're getting a printer. You have to have it on your website, on your computer. So please remember that and keep that in mind. You need Bambu Studio for your computer. Bambu Handy is for your device. And you do need, it's helpful to have Bambu Handy when you set up your printers also. So here is Bambu Studio. It opens into different projects people share. Some are paid, some are free. I'm logged in, and what you're seeing here where I'm logged in is just all the different projects. Now, if you come down here, you can see my print history. See, I made a multi-part bus cutter. I've got a single bus cutter. There's a lot more cutters than what you're seeing here in those projects, but we're going to click on Create New Project. I'm going to start from scratch. Recently, Bambu Studio made updates, and I think it's more confusing than what they had. It drives me crazy, but I've figured out a way to make it work. Sometimes it'll ask me questions I don't know the answer to, but you can see I have my P1P right here selected, texture plate, which not all of mine have texture plates, but I've got my printer and my plate selected. Then I've chosen PLA Basic, and you have to kind of go through, and when you set up your printer, you make selections so that you see your printer and your plate here. This is specific to mine. And then I choose just a standard setting, and I'll show you that when I get the cutter in here. Now, remember what I said. We went from a PNG, which was that black apple image, and then I saved this STL file. And I can turn it here and look at it. Yep, that's the one I want. So I'll click open, and it's going to come in right in the center of my plate. And you can see down here, because I named it, I can see the name of this cutter. And I like doing that because I want to know the name and I want to know the size that I made it, because I'm getting ready to label it. And I have a bad memory. So if I have 5 cutters in here, I go, oh, wait, what size did I make this? And I have to go back to Cricut Design Space and look, and it's annoying. So name your cutters and put the inches in there. To put text on this, we are going to click on it to highlight it. See how it's got this white box? If I click out here, that disappears. So I'm clicking on the apple, and I think this will answer Sue's question. I'm going to click on this TA right up here. It's going to add text to this item I have selected. I'm going to click on the toggle. I like to use Arial Black. It's nice and bold. And sometimes I make my text 4, sometimes I make it 5. I'm going to do 5 because it's larger, it seems to print better. And then I embed depth. I used to change that. I don't anymore, and it works fine. But the thickness is important. I'm going to make this 0.4 thick. That's not very thick, but it's just raised a little bit. I don't like to raise mine too high because I feel like it gets dough and gunk in it, and it's easier to clean out if it's not so raised. But that's preference also. You're the designer. So in putting text, I'll press caps lock, and you know this is an apple. But if you feel better, you can name it Apple 3.5 IN. And when you come down here and hover, you can put this text anywhere you want. So I'm going to turn. I think I'm going to pull it up this way, and I'm just using my trackpad, and you can use your wheel on your mouse. I'm going to put this right here. I don't like to put it up here because you know the dough is going to get in it a lot. So I like to put it about right here. And now if I turn it to the side, see how it's just barely raised? I know some people who make cutters really pop that text out there, like maybe 0.8, but I do 0.3, 0.4 most of the time. You could even try to make it smaller and put it on this wall, but I find that they don't print very well when I do that. So I make mine this size. Now, remember what I was talking about in Cookie Cat, how that bar was across here? If I had put that bar on here and left it, what I would do is just click on this, click on the T, and I would put the text right on the top of that bar. But I didn't need to do that for this apple. So now that we have this in here, remember we dropped in the STL file. I want to print this. So to print it, I have to choose the filament that I'm using, and I just choose PLA Basic. It typically works for everything. And then I will come down here, and what you're going to see, if you don't have settings in here, the best setting to start, I think, is this 0.20 millimeter standard. Okay, so that's normally how I always start. But once they updated this software, I went down and I made a change. The wall generator used to be classic. I changed it to this Arachne because it makes a sturdier cutter. I don't know why. I just feel like it's a better cutter. So you can see what I've done up here. I created a new setting, and it has the Arachne turned on. And if you do the standard setting of 0.20, like I just showed you, let me come down here, standard, and you make a change, like for example, if I change this to Arachne, watch what happens. See how that's orange and this is orange? It's telling me I made a change, and I can click this little floppy disk and save it. And that's what you're seeing. If I click save, I would name it on the end Arachne. And that's what you're seeing that I saved right here. See, it's Arachne. And that's the wall setting it will go back to. So these things I get more in depth with, and sharing settings and showing my settings and sharing the pictures. But basically, if you just want to do this standard right here, it works just fine. So now that we've got this chosen, we've got our PLA chosen, uh, all you have to do, and you don't need to overcomplicate this part because this software basically has everything set up for you as long as you choose a setting here and your PLA that you're using, you're good. You can click slice plate. Now you're seeing the actual cookie cutter. All right. See each layer. Let me zoom in. Each of these is a layer of filament. Each one of these is called a slice. And these white dots you're seeing here, they are seams. See the white, the key over here? These are seams. It's okay. Now, if all of this was white, I might worry a little bit, but it's not all white, just a few pieces. So it's going to print just fine. Here is where the seam is. So when it comes around, makes a slice, it starts and stops. Where you see this white, because that is a seam. If you don't like where the seam is, you can change it by coming down here to seam position, and you can do nearest, and then you have to slice again. And see how now the seams are all over the place? I don't like that. So typically I leave my seams on aligned. That way they all line up, and this is going to print terrific. I have actually already printed it. So watch what happens now. When I look over here at slicing result, I can see the cost, according to what I put in for the cost of my filament, this is going to cost me 30 cents. It's going to take me 28 minutes and 20 seconds to print this cookie cutter. So it tells me how much filament I'm using here. And all I need to do now is click print plate. Choose I've got this printer on. I have my bed leveling off because I've already printed several times today, so it's level. If I'm not printing a lot, I will level the bed. It just takes a few extra minutes. And then the PLA, sometimes it will prompt you to click on this with this newer version, and you just click send, and away it goes. It's printing. It's going to take 28 minutes and 20 seconds. Now, once this gets sent to my printer knows what to do. My printer knows where to print because this software turns that STL file into a type of file that my printer can read. It's called a G code. So now I'm going to go back to prepare. You might be thinking, okay, or maybe you're not thinking this, so I'll tell you. I saved, if you remember, okay, remember I saved the PNG of the apple. That's the black outline. Then I saved the STL, but look, there's no text, okay, because I did not add the text in CookieCAD. However, I did add the text here in Bambu Studio. So I want to save this one with the text on it. And what we're going to do is just replace that first file. So I'm going to click on this, right click, scroll down, export as one STL, and it's going to want to go right in the file that I took it out of, and it's going to prompt me, do you want to replace it? Yes, I do. Wait, I didn't put the 5 there. It's 3.5. I guess I messed up when I was typing. So when I click save, oh, it didn't ask me. Okay, let me go back. So the way that you can tell, for one thing, what did I put? Okay, let me copy this. I don't want Orca. Orca is another slicer that's just like Bambu Studio, and it is really good. I don't want that, but sometimes it tries to open. Okay, what did I save this as? CC Apple 3.5. Okay, so let me show you what it actually does. I named it something different. When you export, it's going to replace that other CC Apple 3.5 .stl. That's the original STL file name. So when I click save, it's going to say, do you want to replace it? I do, because this one I'm saving has the text on it, where that first one did not. So now when I come back in here and I open this, that's the original that I saved the wrong way. Just trust me, it works. Here it is. It replaced that first one, and now I have the text. You don't want to have to add the text every time you print this thing. So you want to replace it when you go to save it. Okay, so to save this project, if I wanted to save this project, to come back in here and make changes, I need to save it as a Bambu Studio file type. So I go to File, Save Project, and it's going to save it with this name. It doesn't even prompt me to name it. It's already got a name from the cookie cutter. So it actually saved a 3MF file. So you're going to see in here, okay, right here it is. CC Apple 3.5 inch 3MF. So this 3MF file is a file type that when I try to open it, it's going to open the project that looks just like this. And if I need to make changes, say I realize after I printed it, oh shoot, I made a spelling error. I got to fix that text. Well, I still have the original project saved. So to change that text, I want to show you this because it's important if you're a bad typist like I am. Say I want to change this. Then I can come to Objects, Text Shape, right click, Edit Text, and maybe I'm going to write the word inch. Oh gosh, 35 inch. All right. So now you can see I just edited the text. Just ignore this warning here. And so I just edited the text. Well, I really didn't need to do that, so I'm going to take it off because I don't want that in my project. But that's how you edit text if you have maybe you put in the wrong size. Maybe it's 3 inches and you put the wrong measurement in there. So, and you click out here and it saves it. So you want to save the project just so you have it for insurance if you want to come back in here and do more apple cutters like we're going to do. So now I'm going to go back to Cricut Design Space and we'll run through these others a lot faster because I just gave you the lowdown on how to change an image, how to save it to create the cookie cutter. But sometimes, so this apple is done the exact same way as this one. I won't take your time to do this one, but I will show you how to do this one because I actually made a change to the apple. So I started, I must have ungrouped those. Let's group that back together. I started with this apple. Any questions, Debbie?
Nope, we're good.
Okay, so I started with this apple, but I wanted a plaque on the bottom of it. And this is so easy. All I did was I offset it just like I showed you before. I clicked on this, clicked offset. I don't remember what offset I did, but I probably did 0.8. So I'll click apply. And that time it turned it black. Sometimes it'll turn it gray. Depends on what color you have selected before you do that. So that's the next step. Then I wanted to add this plaque to the bottom. So I go to shapes and I tried to find a plaque I wanted, but there really wasn't one here that I liked all that much. So I searched images for rounded rectangle. And I chose, you can choose any that you want, but I felt like these looked a little bit better than just the regular rounded rectangle. You can choose anything you want. You don't have to choose a rectangle. You can look at all these beautiful, I make cookie cutters out of these all the time, you guys. You can do plaques, all kinds of shapes. And if you have one you like and it seems like it's got little circles and holes in it, you can get rid of those with the contour tool and make that into a cutter. So another little tip for you there. I turn this a different color so I can see exactly where I'm putting it. I will widen this out and I'll bring it down and I'll look at it and I'll think, okay, do I like that? I think I want this a little thicker in case, I want to, or maybe a little thinner. It's up to you. You're the designer. Then I click and drag, go to a line, and I will center this horizontally. So it's centered perfectly. Now I want to know what that's going to look like as an entire cookie cutter. So I will take this and I'll turn this black first and take a look at it. and click off. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's a great cookie cutter, but this, I would like for this to be stand out a little bit more. So I'll make a few changes here when I, change the color. So now, okay, I like that. That's much better. Click and drag, align and center horizontally again. Now I go to combine. Sorry, that's my 3D printer behind me there. And I usually weld these together, but you can unite them if you want to. But I like to weld it because I've got the original here. And normally I also keep an original, like I kept an original of this. I do that too. But now this is actually what you're seeing here. See, I've got these two colors I put together. This is basically this step right here where it's one outline and it's all black. So Cookie Cat can read it. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to keep that locked for now. Let's see. This one's 5.8. So the height is going to be taller. So let's try 3.75. Okay, that's good. 3.7 by 3.45. Now, I don't have to adjust anything if I don't want to. I'm going to do 3.75 though. Okay, that's perfect. I don't know. I've never made it perfect before. Look at that. 3.75 by 3.5. Well, that's the first time ever I didn't have to adjust. So now I'm going to zoom in. This is the size I want the cookie to be. Just because I want to know what size it is and what it's going to look like. I can always change the size in Cookie Cat. That doesn't matter. But I want to know while I'm working on the designs what size this cutter is going to be. Screenshot, Shift Command 4. If you're on a PC, your snippet tool, screenshot that. And then go back to Cookie Cat. You can go to your library if you have a library. If you don't have a library, what yours is going to look like is this. And you'll click right here. And here's my screenshot. I'm going to preview it. There it is. See how nice and clean that black and white, the white background and the black image. It just really gives Cookie Cat something, some contrast. See how it says tracing image? There it is. That's what I wanted. I am going to come right here and change this to inches. I'm going to put in 3.775. I'm going to change it. Every time I have to come in here and I have to click this setting. And it just changed it to my setting. And again, the bar, we can do the bar this time. So I've got the bar at 8 millimeters, it's kind of thick. It doesn't have to be that wide. It could be 5. All right, there we go. Share link, copy. I'll paste that in just a minute, but I always paste that in my notes. That way I can share this. Download STL, and then I'll put in CC, Apple, Plaque, 3.75 IN, and I may have already saved this. Let's see. Nope. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to open Bambu Studio, and I'll show you a couple of tricks with Bambu Studio. So I'll go back to process. Right now it's on object. I wanted to go back to global so I could see all of these settings again. And if you're in here and you want to zoom in, you can roll in and out. You can press Command 0, or I always laugh and say Commando, and it'll go back to the good, the view where you can see everything. But maybe you have this plate full. You want to add another plate. You click the plus sign. You can add like 36 plates in a project. I'll go to Finder. I want the CC Apple plaque that I just did. Here it is. Drag it in. And there it is on the plate. Now, it's a little bit off. See that? Command 0 will bring this more into view, or Commando. Then I can put the text right here. See that cutter? Isn't that nice? It's just awesome. It's perfect. I select it. You have to select it before you can put text on it. Click the T. I'm going to type in AR so it'll pull up Arial Black. I'm going to make this. Now I made the width of that bar 5, so I'm going to do this 4, thickness 0.4, input text, Apple plaque 3.75, right? Let me look down here. Yep, that's the name. Okay. And I hover. Let's see if it's going to fit. See how I can drag it around because I haven't clicked anywhere yet. I'm going to put that right there. That looks good. And then I'm going to click just in the back here in the gray space to release that. And there's my text right on that bar. Slice the plate. It's going to 35 minutes, 19 seconds. But you can see here we've got some white seams. These are probably going to print just fine. However, if I want this to be smooth on the top of here, I'm going to come over here. Let me see if I've got, all right, ironing. I have no ironing on this one. I do have a setting right here with the iron turned on, but let me change this to show you if that's, see if it's going to make a difference. Topmost surface. I'm going to iron the topmost surface here and slice it again. That didn't really help that much. Let's do top surfaces. All I know is when I iron things, it's smooth. There we go. It smoothed it out just a little bit across here, and it will take a little more time. You don't have to turn on ironing, but you can if you want to smooth the top surface out. But I don't think that's necessary, so I'm just going to go back to no ironing. And then I will click slice again, print plate. 9 is busy, so I'm going to go to 5. I've got two printers plugged in right now. I'm going to leave the auto bed leveling on. Or sorry, this is the time lapse. I do that all the time. This side is time lapse. I want that off. I don't care about that. That's you can look at it in the camera and see how it's progressing. Auto bed leveling, I'll leave that on. Oh, see here it's telling me you need to click this. It's not going to let me click send. So I have to click here to choose that PLA. Maybe Stacy can tell me why that's doing that. I don't know. Since it updated, I've had that issue. So if you can't click send, click right here and click on this gray and white checkered box, then click send, and away it goes to the printer.
Okay, we do have a question.
Uh-huh.
Julie Goodwin wanted to know the difference between unite versus weld.
Okay, that's a good question. Let me see if I can back up. Back in Cricut Design Space. Let's see.
You were on a roll. I couldn't interrupt you.
That's okay. All right, let me undo. I'll go back. Okay, so Julie, I have 2 pieces here. And if I want to put these together and click and drag over them, I'm going to align them again horizontally. So if I go to combine, well, let me duplicate it so I can see how I'm hovering right here and it says duplicate. It will tell you what you're about to click on if you don't know. So I'm going to duplicate this. This one, I'm going to weld like it was before, combine and weld. Now you can see weld result. It is on one layer. It is welded together. I cannot separate it. If I close this project and come back, it's welded forever. However, if I come here, click and drag, and I go to combine and unite, you're going to see it still has 2 layers. I can hide the rectangle or the apple, but it is united together. If I just, let me duplicate this, if I just group it together, this is more for, if you're cutting out something, uniting and weld, it does make a difference. Grouping, if you just have these things, let me ununite, undo unite here. If I just group these 2 together, see how this says group? It looks the same as unite. But if I were to go and try to cut these, it would try to cut these 2 separately. But I'm not cutting. Right now, this doesn't have anything to do with cutting. I'm actually using the images for cookie cutters. So that's the difference. This one, you can still see the 2 separate pieces. Weld is just one single layer. They are stuck together forever. I'm going to click save so I don't lose anything here. By the way, I did share with you, so you're going to need this image for the cookie cutter I made. You're going to need this image for the apple cutter, and then the plaque is just the same apple. But Thursday in the club, I'm going to take this a step further. Let me click save again. And I'll show you what I'm going to do in the club on Thursday. I'm actually going to take this project, and I went with this school bus, and we're going to make a multi-cutter. We're going to make this school bus into a cutter. The way that this, and you have to be careful when you're making cutters. See this image? See these little, like, I don't know, doodles? I didn't want that on my cutter because it would just, I don't know. I just didn't want it. I just wanted the school bus. So I'm going to show how to remove those doodles. And then I fix the area here between the stop sign and the bus. And then I end up showing you how to make a multi-part cutter if you want a two-part bus. And then, sometimes when I get going in the club, I get long-winded and I'll show them how to make another cutter. We'll make sets. It depends on if I'm using clip art from the club artist or if it's from Design Space on actually how many things we do. I usually always show how to make a stencil too, like a back to school stencil or something that coordinates with these things.